Should be able to see me. Hey, how you doing? How's it going? It's that calm before the storm, isn't it? It's like the weekend before Christmas. Always feels a little weird, I think. All right, let's have a look. Who is here? Who is with me? What's happening? How are you guys? Give me some love or some thumbs up, or tell me where you are and how we're doing. All right, welcome to Project Glow's Sunday night self-care session. Let's see if you can see me properly. Yes, you can see me properly. So welcome to Project Glow's Sunday night self-care session. On Sunday nights, I spend an hour talking about one specific topic of self-care. The reason I do this is because in today's self-development industry, I found that a lot of the coaches and authors and gurus, if you like, kind of got stuck on the what a little. So you'll see all these posts and these quotes on all the social media where it tells you the what, but not the how. So for instance, my favorite one, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, actually, I know quite a lot of people that it's broken and that they've turned to addiction, and a lot of people are not coping. So how do you actually get to the place where you can make lemonade out of lemons, dance in the rain, and come out of something stronger than you were before? So I focus on the how, where a lot of other people focus on the what, and some of them focus on the why. But I'm your how girl. Woohoo! How. It's all about basically this idea that when it comes to your emotion or even your spirit, that there isn't really a structure and a sequence and a science. So apparently there's a structure, a sequence and a science to everything on the planet except your thoughts and your emotions and your spirit. And I'd like to hazard a guess that that's maybe just because some of us don't know, and a lot of it we just don't have enough research and we haven't discovered just yet. But tonight the topic is the meaning and the lesson, the message. So it's kind of like if you've done a lot of personal development, you're already on that train that says, okay, things happen for a reason. And that's basically the most foundational idea in personal development and in a lot of modalities of spirituality as well, that what happens to you is actually there for a reason. So I'm going to just add one thing to it. I don't believe, and I'm not going to name which teachers they are, I don't believe that when bad things come to your life that you made them happen. It's not your fault. Let's just chuck that right out there. You know, kids, for instance, have nightmares all day long and are scared of a lot of monsters and snakes and rabbits with big fat ears and eyes. And guess what? The world is not full of monsters, inks, monsters. Just because you have bad thoughts, of course it's going to affect your life, but this idea that you're drawing in bad things, chuck it out. Also, this idea that somehow you've done something bad, yeah, let's just leave that with a couple of outdated modes of religion, you know, that somehow you're being punished. You're not. The purpose, and this is what we start off with right away, the purpose of obstacles in your life is to grow you, to shape you, to burn you, to mold you like a diamond, to squish you and pressure you into becoming this beautiful, amazing, sparkling version of who you are. And it does it, and I'm going to show you in a minute exactly how, by supporting you on one side and challenging you on the other side. But the cool thing is you will never get a challenge without a support, and you will never get a support without a challenge. So I've dove right in. Let's see who's here. So that I can see exactly who's with me on this journey tonight. Let's have a look. All right. Hello. How you doing? Lovely to see you. Cool. Hey, hello. If you haven't ever watched me before, thank you. Okay, so let's get back to the topic. The purpose, as a result, what I call the lesson, the message, the blessing, and the gift that the obstacles, the hardships, and the heartbreaks of your life are trying to enlighten you to. If you've done a lot of personal development, you've probably seen all the movies, read all the books, gone on the courses, and you can probably rattle off every single quote there is by every famous person. But do you actually know what it really means, and does it translate into your body? Because I know a lot of people that have done a lot of personal development and they're still rather miserable, or can't get their life into order, or can't really get back up from those big obstacles that would kind of come to all of us. You know, we've all been through some pretty heavy stuff. Also, you know, the astrology in this past year has been heavy as heck. And so I'm rather surprised if you haven't been through some major transformations in the last 4.5 years. Now, the kind of foundation to why it's important to understand that the things that happen to you have a meaning, because guess what? If you know the meaning and the lesson and the purpose behind your heartbreak, hardships, and obstacles, it's a whole lot easier to get back up and to lean in and to actually go, okay, all right, there's some really tough stuff happening, but I'm going to get back up and I'm going to get through this. One of my all-time favorite books is this. This is just, if you have never read this book, you need to read this book. This is my top book. Certainly the top 10 in my life. It's written by a chap called Viktor Frankl, and he was a prisoner in a Nazi concentration camp, and he's also a psychologist, and he wrote about the experiences that he had in the concentration camp and how ultimately the thing that kept people alive was that they turned a really awful situation into a meaning. So there were people in the concentration camp that made themselves the entertainers, people that were the carers, people that they took on different roles, and they clung onto this idea that somehow their life had meaning in this particular situation. I also have an amazing colleague, Dr. Kim Jobst. I'm going to put his details in the comments below. He is a physician, a very brilliant man who explores the meaning of disease, because I know I've spoken about this quite a number of times, that disease also can have a meaning. It's trying to alert you something. It's trying to point the finger to some imbalance. So this is the book of meaning for me. And then also, I'm sure you've heard me talk about this a lot, my teacher and my mentor for the past almost decade has been Dr. John DeMartini. His main book is The Breakthrough Experience. He does a 2-day workshop all around the world. If you go to his website, I'm going to post his website in the comments below. I think he does it every weekend now, pretty much 365 days a year. And it's all about the process of breaking through the barriers that you have perceived in your life by looking for the lesson and the message and the balance and the meaning of all the things that are happening to you. And that actually is the actual recipe for making lemonade when life happens to give you lemons. Because, as I said before, a lot of people, they just give you the inspiration. Some maybe touch on the education, but for real transformation to happen, you need the right, and I've talked about this before, mindset, strategy, and action. And that equates to the inspiration to change, the education on how to actually do it. And then also the application of how does that translate into your life. And then also at the end of it has to be the accountability. Because if you've done something for 1, 2, 3 decades, if you thought in a certain kind of a way, then changing that way of thinking actually requires you to put new habits into place. And that is much, much easier done when you have the education on how to do it, but also the accountability. You know, that's why people hire coaches and go to workshops and join groups and And that's pretty much how you need to move forward if you want to make really great big changes in your life. It takes patience, it takes persistence, and the know-how. You really actually need to know how to do it. So in the comments below and earlier on in the feed, you will see that I have posted the show notes. Dun, 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 dun. This is one of the quirky things I do for myself, but also for my lovely clients, is whatever I'm teaching has to be put down in one page, because I don't know about you, but when I used to, back in the day, when I used to go to all those seminars and workshops, I bought a lot of books. I read a lot of them, but a lot of the journals that I wrote about, I furiously wrote in those workshops, and then I never ever looked at them again. I would rather you have a folder, a nice clear folder with lots of only one page topics that you can look at again and again, like a picture book, and that'll remind you of the top concepts. So I'm going to post this particular thing in the comments below. Also, you will find it in the feed. It sums up the topic of today, that actually seeing the message and the lesson in your obstacle and in your heartbreak and in your hardships, it's as easy as ABC, 1, 2, 3. I don't sing very well, but you know the song, easy as ABC, 1, 2, 3. And that's actually as easy as it is if you know how. If you know how to really interpret, because I always say is understanding why the things that happen to you happen is like going to a foreign country. You've probably heard the language, and this is very funny for me because I only learned to speak English when I think I was 10 or maybe 11. But being a teenager, I had heard pop music my whole life, and I of course learnt it and sang it into a hairbrush at the top of my lungs, never really understanding what it actually meant. And then years later, when I did learn to speak English, I was rather horrified at what some of those songs meant. So a lot of people that do personal development just spout out these quotes and these messages. Well, you really just got to love yourself. Oh yeah, how? And have you actually done it? So there's the message of the universe, and then also there is understanding, and that's about the language. And part of what I'm doing tonight is I'm going to teach you the language of the universe. So first up on my sheet, on the left-hand side, you will see the A, B, C. So in number A, you will see a long line. I'm going to put it closer to the camera here. Ooh, let's see if you can put it over. No, that side. Okay. Here you see it says, A, you are here, and then there's red bits and green bits and zigzags, and then on the end of it, it says, your inspired destiny. I want you for a minute just to imagine that you and I have gone to the bowling alley. Now, I really love bowling, so I go quite a lot. But today, we're going to the bowling alley because I'm trying to explain to you how the obstacles in your life help you to get to where you want to go. So, we get to the bowling alley, and the people who have been there before us left the railings up. You know, the kiddie railings at the side. You can kind of press a button and they go whoop. I want you to imagine that the railings are the restrictions in your life, and the pins at the front are your inspired destiny. So the pins at the front is where you want to go, what you want to achieve, what you want to experience. You are where you are, and you're rolling the ball of your life. Now, what looks like restrictions is actually there to help you go tuk, 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 and hit the pins. Because if you're a really good bowler, you manage to bowl the ball straight through the line, straight through the middle. And if you are a master of your emotions and a master of your mind, you are very good at keeping the focus on the balance of your life. So you know that there's benefit and drawback, challenge and support, but you are neither swayed into the one side or the other. You go straight down the middle. If, however, you find that you don't have a mastery over your emotions and you're kind of like up 1 minute, down 1 minute, all over the place, then the railings on the side, which are the restrictions, make sure that they keep you tick, 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 tick. they still manage to keep you hitting the front. So you have a choice. Either bowl badly and you'll still get there, or bowl very straight and you'll still get to the same place. So let me show you that picture again. Oop, there we go. You are here. There is red challenges, there is green support, and they keep you in this bowling alley from where you are to your inspired destiny. If you're not very good at mastering your mind, your brain will go tick, 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 tick. As you learn to master your emotions, it'll be much, much smoother and much calmer. But guess what? You're at A, you're going to go to your inspired destiny, and the railings, the restrictions, the obstacles, the heartbreaks, the hardships, make sure that you get there. The railing on the left is the support that keeps you up. The railing on the right is the challenge, and it's kind of like they squeeze you from front to back to keep you upright, going straight ahead. So that is essentially kind of like the purpose of why bad things are here. They are basically here to grow and stretch you, because as human beings, guess what? We like to hang out in our comfort zone. And if nothing ever comes to challenge us, we will stay really juvenile and we won't ever get out of bed. If, however, we get over-challenged, we then just fall apart and, get nothing done. So the universe always makes sure that there is equal challenge, equal support, making sure that it's hemmed you in, that you go from where you are to where you need to be, like in the bowling alley. B is the second part of the story, because no matter what happens, that balance is always there. That balance is in your life, that balance is in my life, that balance is in your history, that balance is in your future. You can't jip it, you can't change it. But how you perceive it or how you look at your life actually determines your reality. So your reality is how you look at a situation. Actuality is the fact that there is always left and right, up and down, light and dark, balance and support. I'm sure I've showed you my meditation cushion. I'm just going to grab it. Hang on, it's here. So this is the balance of the universe. There is always light in the light, dark in the dark, and to balance it all out, equal benefit and drawback. So if you imagine the light as the benefit, the dark as the shadow and the drawback, whichever way you spin it around and around, that balance always stays the same. So, little piece of exercise we're going to do. Right now, I want you to think of the most amazing thing that ever happened to you in your life. Maybe you won something, achieved something. Some people say when they got married. I bet you anything that when you look back at that life, you will see that there was equal challenge and support, right? Ooh, let me just put down the light a little. Also, if you look at the worst time of your life, maybe this past year has been really, really, really tough, you will find that equal amount of challenge came with equal amount of support. Now, most of the time, that support doesn't come in the way that you expect it to, but it is absolutely universal rule and law that challenge always has to be present. So, exercise challenge. Think of the most brilliant thing that happened to you or the most brilliant time, and look at the light and the dark in that situation, because it's always there. But here is the second part that I was talking about. Whether you look only at the left or only at the right determines how you feel about it. So imagine that this side is the dark side and this side is the light side. If I only look at the dark side, I go, oh my God, it was terrible. It was absolutely awful. Or if I look at the left side and I go, oh my God, it was only brilliant. But the truth is, it's always in the middle. So if we take that cushion again and we divide it like this, so I'm just going to prop it up here on the table. I don't know if you can see it. Let me prop it up a little more. Here we go. So we're going to say that the right side is the shadow, the left side is the light. It depends on whether I'm looking only there or right in the middle, that I can see the balance. If I'm right in the middle, I can see that everything is always in balance. Every person, every experience, every event you've ever had and are ever going to have is always in balance. But the way that you choose to view it, so whether you just look in the light and go, oh my God, this is so amazing. This is what happens to most people when they first meet someone, when they go dating and they meet somebody they're quite fancy. It's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, it's so amazing. And then as the honeymoon period comes to an end, you start to see, oh, I don't like that. And then usually people go, oh, this person is terrible. And then usually they break up and they go on to the next relationship. Every single relationship you will ever have will have a balance of both. Okay? That's one of the things I talk about also in the Truth About Love, Relationship and Soulmates, which was the soulmate, the Sunday night self-care session from last week, is if you're always chasing the high, you're always going to feel shit. Because by the time you get to the next thing, whether that is the next person or the next job or the next whatever that you think is going to make it better, you'll realize that absolutely everything in the universe has equal light and dark coming together like the rails in a bowling alley, making sure that you get just enough support and just enough challenge to push you forward to your inspired destiny. So the three questions that determines, and I'm not going to go into it too much, this all gets done in depth in the workshop next year. The first question is what actually happened and what does it mean to you? So there's always, can you see meaning? Human beings add meaning. Perfect example that I use, imagine 10 children open a box and it's full of snakes. Some of the kids might go, oh wow, and some of the kids might go, oh my God, and run away. It's not what happens, it's how you perceive it. And something that might be terrible to you might be a walk in the park to someone else. So the question number one that you need to answer to really understand your perception of it, your reality is what actually happened and what do you think that means? The second question is your perception of right and wrong and what should have happened, which is what should that person have done? And secondly, what should they not have done? So that's the second part. The third part is because it made me feel. And the second element to that, instead I really want to feel. So I'm just going to show you that I can make sure you understand these questions. These are the 6 questions that help you understand. So this is B, that help you understand exactly the nature of your reality. This is all about the nature of your reality. What happened? What does it mean to you? What should they have done or what should have happened? What shouldn't they have done? What shouldn't have happened? And it made you feel, and instead you didn't want to feel that, you wanted to feel this instead. So B is all about your reality. How you have actually spun your reality, because your reality, now a lot of personal development will say this is just your story. Your reality is your experience of the actuality. So A was all about what actually happens, which is there is always benefit and drawback, light and dark at any moment in time. B is the reality of your interpretation. So what have you said this means? For instance, the darkest part of your life, and trust me, I have been through the mill in the last 4.5 years. There was illness, there was divorce, there were all sorts of really, really tough things. In those times, sometimes I felt the balance, sometimes my reality matched my actuality and I could see that there was equal benefit and drawback, support and challenge. But sometimes, man, I fell into that dark side and it was just like, this is just awful, there is nothing going right. C is the exercise we do to get you nicely back into the middle. Okay, so C, what we do is we list all the things that are going right and all the things that are going wrong to prove to your mind that actually this balance is always in place. So right now, let's do this. 3 things that are going absolutely terribly wrong, and 3 things that are actually going incredibly right. And you will find that if you take this bit by bit by bit by bit through your life, all the way through the past, that balance is always there. And aligning your reality with the actuality, so merging and aligning A and B together is what gets you into that place of C, which is the balance. And that balance means you are mastering and managing your emotions. And that's what makes your life go much, much smoother, irregardless of what happens. How are we doing so far? Have you got any questions? Let me just have a look. How are you doing? This is a big topic, but the outcome will be absolutely amazing, because the actual thing that you want to achieve is to have a calm mind and a steady heart. And that's really why we do these exercises, why we dig for the purpose and the lesson and the gift and the meaning, is so that you can really calm your mind and steady your heart. Because when you're in a place of calmness and steadiness, guess what happens? Your creativity flourishes, your connection to your higher self and also the greater consciousness flourishes. But if you're in a state of trauma, which is either falling too much into the dark or too much into the light, means that you're just going bam, 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 bam in the bowling alley, rather than just a little up, a little down, a little up, a little down. The good news is, you, me, and the rest of the world, we're all going to get to our inspired destiny. But depending on how volatile your thoughts are along the way, determines how much you're going to enjoy the ride, and also, unfortunately, the health of your body, because this whole jigger-jagger backwards and forwards, volatility up and down in your mind, actually translates to volatility in your blood sugar, blood pressure, all sorts of cortisol and adrenaline and inflammation markers going up and down. You want to calm the whole thing down. And the way that you calm it down, you can absolutely, when you're in an absolute state of meltdown, there is meditation, there is breathing. I talk a lot about this in the emotional first aid kit that you can download. It's on Facebook as well. So when you're in the absolute throes of, oh my God, this is good, or oh my God, this is absolutely awful, you can't think straight. First of all, you've got to kind of like, imagine you've just thrown the ball somewhere into the dark side or all the way into the light side. You just got to take some time out and go calm down, drink some water, fetch that ball before you can even start bowling again. So when you're in the absolute throes of the high of the infatuation or the absolute turmoil of despair and depression, we just need to do some self-care first and bring you back into the bowling alley when it's a bit more contained. And then we teach you how to regulate your mind to come back into the center in the middle. We've done this whole thing on this. A was actuality, B was your reality. And in order to align A and B, what we do is we do the exercise C, where you prove to your mind that actually at any point in your entire life and in your future, you will never, ever, ever be challenged without a support or supported without a challenge. So no experience, no new job, no new person, no new relationship, no new country, town, anything will come with a one-sided situation. But here's the downside. A lot of the volatility that you're experiencing is expecting life to be one-sided, expecting there only to be love and light and no challenge and no heartbreak and no hardship. The truth is that true love, actual love, the love that we all are capable of and that the universe is made of, is both light and dark. If you think about it, the person that you love the most in the whole world, guess what? You like them for their good bits, and you totally take into account the annoying bits as well. Because true love is, and this is what Dr. DeMartini calls it, the synthesis and synchronicity of complementary opposites. That's a very big sentence that basically says the universe is always made up of this. Light equals dark. The dark has a little bit of light. The light has a bit of dark. And it is always equal at the same time. It's not a little bit of light now and then tomorrow a lot of dark. That was the meditation cushion on the floor. It's always here right now. Right now you're experiencing equal amounts of light and dark. Your darkest times had support all the way along. Maybe not in the way you wanted it. Maybe it came in a friend or a cat or a house or clothing and food and things like that, but it was always right there. All right, so now we get to the second part of the page, and I'm just going to check if any of you have any questions. Give me your questions, people. I know this is a bit of an intense topic, but we'll get through it. And there's always going to be more information and workshops on this if you want to dive into this and actually say, okay, I'm facing this really terrible thing right now. How do I apply all of these to get to a stage where I can actually have a calm mind and a steady heart, that I can connect with my creativity and I can move forward through this? So that is either something you want to explore in a workshop, or you want to explore with me one-to-one. But the reason why we do this is because the way that we make lemons into lemonade is to find the meaning. What does it mean in your life? Okay, and the meaning comes out of understanding the lesson, the blessing, and the gift. All right? How you guys doing? Hey! Hey Jenny, you've just joined us. And who can I see there as well? Claire and Janice. Hey guys, how you doing? Give me some hearts and some likes or something that I know that you're still alive. This is a big topic. And if you have any comments or questions, please let me know what you think, or if you've heard about this before, or if you've ever heard of Dr. John DeMartini, and have you ever heard of Viktor Frankl as well? I mean, these are some really big hitters in terms of understanding why the obstacles and the heartbreaks and your hardships come along, because they're here to grow and mold you. All right, let's go into that second part. First of all, the lesson, the lesson is divided into A, a reflection, B, imbalanced thinking, and C, not taking ownership or undeveloped. Okay, let me just drink something. So the lesson that your obstacles, heartbreaks, and hardships are trying to bring you are in these three categories. Number one, the most beautiful one of them all, and the one that I go on and on about, is when you're pointing your finger at somebody and go, that person did, or my life has just delivered this to me. Number one, that is the lesson. Number two, that is the blessing. Number three, that is the gift. And guess what? When you're pointing the finger, these three fingers are pointing right back at you. And each one of them have three individual categories as well. So here we go. Lesson. The lesson that your obstacle is trying to give you is that, I call this the return to love. Think about a sentence that you're going to say. So-and-so is just being a blah. So my favorite one, which comes up all the time in the ladies that I work with, is I've met this guy, I'm in a relationship, and oh my God, he's so totally emotionally unavailable. All right, he is so totally emotionally unavailable. Reflection says, I am so totally emotionally unavailable. Usually when I first say that, or when they first hear that, they go, no, I'm not. I'm nice and I'm caring and I'm kind and I'm really investing in this relationship. But maybe is the truth that you are not being emotionally available to yourself in the way that this relationship doesn't really suit you, that this person is doing things that upset you? Or are you actually in that stage of life where you're not even aware, you aren't even aware of what you want and what you need, and you have absolutely no idea how to communicate that? I call that the chameleon girl. Are you the girl? And yeah, I got the t-shirt and the mouse mat and everything else that just goes into your new relationship and just chameleonizes herself and molds herself to his life and his needs and his wants, yeah, guess what? That's being emotionally unavailable to yourself. So whenever your mind goes, A, B, this person is doing this thing, remove the person's name and go, I am doing this. How am I? Because in first line, your judgment is trying to bring you back to the reflection of that person has all the traits in the world and you have all the traits in the world. So I call this a return to love. This is to get you out of the idea that anybody else is separate than yourself. Every single person out there has every single trait. They are happy, you're happy. They are mean, you're mean. They're kind in some way, you're kind in some way. So when somebody breaks your heart or delivers something not so nice to you, the idea is in first line, it's a reflection. So put an I in front of it. In second line, when you get a heartbreak, a hardship, or an obstacle, it's trying to alert you to your imbalanced thinking. So I'm sure you've heard this one particular before. This is called either what you follow flees and what resist persists. Have you heard of this one? And also, what you ignore comes back up again. Let me just get the video back on so that I know exactly who's with me. Ooh, I have a question. That was Jenny saying hi. Hi, Jenny. Okay, so we said reflection, imbalanced thinking, and not taking ownership is the third one. So your obstacle, hardship, and heartbreak is trying to alert you that A, you have every trait that everybody else has. Put an I in front of it. Secondly, it's trying to alert you to imbalanced thinking. What you resist persists. What you follow flees. Again, in relationships, this is amazing. You want to stop attracting emotionally unavailable men? Guess what? If you haven't seen how you're emotionally unavailable, it's going to come back, because what you resist persists. Also, if you never, ever, ever want to be with somebody who does X, Y, and Z, guess what? They're going to come again and again and again because you have not seen that either you do not own that trait as well, or you think that emotionally unavailability is only good or only bad, and therefore this is trying to alert you to come back to the center, come back to the middle, come back to the calm space inside of yourself by seeing that everything has an upside and a downside equally. Number 3, obstacles, especially things like bullies, come along if you have not taken ownership of a part of your life. So if you do not take ownership of your finances, guess what? People rip you off and bully you. If you do not take ownership of your boundaries, people are going to step on them again and again and again. So this first section of what lesson is an obstacle trying to bring you, it's trying to reflect to you that you have the same too. It's trying to alert you that you have imbalanced thinking, and it's trying to show you that there is an area you have not taken ownership from. Okay, next section, the blessing. So first of all, when you look for a blessing, you need to find where is the opposite. Where is the opposite? So if you're really angry that somebody is emotionally unavailable to you, what would be the opposite? So if emotionally unavailable is the darkness, what would be the lightness? Emotionally connected? Great. First question, where is that person emotionally connected? Because guess what? There's always light and dark. You can never have the one without the other. So somewhere that person is really connected to you. They might be connected to you when you're doing a task. They might be connected to you when you're talking about a particular topic. They might be connected to you when, when you're having sex. Yeah, that person is both disconnected from you and connected, depending on who they are and what they've gone through in their life. So that's the first one. Where are they opposite? So where are they doing the opposite? Because it can't just be the one or the other. Second of all is, if this person is giving you disconnection, who is giving you connection? Because the opposite always has to be there. So perfect example, a lot of the ladies who find that they are in relationship with emotionally unavailable men find that talking about these emotionally unavailable men with their girlfriends brings a lot of bonding with their friends. So who's being emotionally unavailable? The man. Who's being emotionally available? The opposite, which is friends or confidants or mentors or teachers. Because guess what? You can't have light without dark, up without down. The third one, imagine if the person that was doing what they're doing to you did the opposite all of a sudden. So your emotionally unavailable man immediately, by some miracle, became emotionally available and sat on your couch and cried all day long. What would still be the drawback? Because now you're showing light versus dark again. Okay, so that's all about how to find the blessing. The blessing is that there is always balance. And the sooner you can see that there's always balance, so in first line, what's the opposite? There's always somebody doing the opposite. The person is always showing you the opposite. And if the opposite happened, it would still be bad. I know I'm messing with your head right now, and this is a lot for a Sunday night, but that is how to understand the blessing. As I said, I do this in longer webinars and workshops. And when we do it on a workshop, we have all the time in the world. Today is just an overview. Number 3, how to understand the gift that your obstacle is trying to show you. Can you see here, if I show it right up to the end, is the gift is a new direction, new people, new experiences. Number 2, what it has made you face or learn, how it has made you grow. And number 3, what were you able to avoid? Okay, so your obstacle, hardship, and heartbreak always brings a lesson, a blessing, and a gift. The lesson is all about alerting you to something that you haven't seen, that by seeing you will awaken you to the greater consciousness. The blessing is to show you that the balance is always maintained, both in the person, in yourself, and in the situation as the whole. The third one is the gift, because the gift, that something that comes into your life that kind of like whacks you into another direction. It brings in new people, new experiences, and it brings you this incredibly rich delivery of growth that maybe you would have never, ever, ever had if you had not experienced this. So perfect example, in 2013, my marriage broke apart, my husband left me, he's now my ex-husband, and in all of that transformation and hardship and mess, I realized that I couldn't go back to the corporate job that I had 12 years ago. Everybody said no. I had kind of done coaching for years and years as a sideline hobby job. I now needed to really make this into a proper business. So all along, my life had challenge. I went through a divorce. I was very, very ill at the same time. I had to build a business. What was the other side bringing to me all the time? There were friends. There was support from mentors. There was support in terms of money that I got from people. I could never, ever, 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 ever be either only supported or only challenged. But in this particular part, where is the gift? So, new experiences, new direction, new people. Gosh, there was a lot of that stuff. Also, what did it make me face, or what did it make me learn? Well, it made me learn how to grow a business, how to manage money, how to turn this hobby business into a proper business. Did I have to grow? Oh my God, yes, I had to grow. Also, was I able to avoid some things? Yeah, guess what? When somebody leaves you, you get to avoid all the challenges that that person brought. So I didn't have to worry about a partner. I didn't have to worry about any disagreements between us. I didn't have to go to his parents. I didn't have to go on holiday. On holidays I didn't want to go on, because when something moves out of your life, guess what? You get to also avoid having to put up with the stuff that that person would have naturally brought into your life. So let's recap. When you have an obstacle coming into your life and you're going, that terrible, terrible thing shouldn't be there, there is always a lesson, a blessing, and a gift. The lesson is trying to alert you that you've either gone too far into the dark side or the light side, that actually the truth is in the middle. The blessing is showing you, in terms of the opposite, that the middle, the balance is always maintained, and how to get back to that. The gift is always, bam, the redirection. How is this terrible thing that has happened redirecting you to align you with your inspired destiny? So On top of the page, we also have your blueprint and priorities. That's all about what's most important to your life. So this terrible thing that has happened to you has brought you the result that it's gotten you to grow, that you can actually achieve those goals. Because the truth is that without exactly these challenges and this support, it's lining you up absolutely precision perfectly to achieving your highest potential and becoming who you were destined to be. And it's so easy to think, yeah, you would only get there. But actually, it's both the challenge and support that is necessary to get you there. Because like I said before, if you were only challenged, oh God, you would be absolutely exhausted. But if you were only supported, you'd never get anything done. You'd just hang out in your comfort zone. Human beings need to be challenged and supported to grow. But guess what? If you think that you are actually only being challenged at the moment, can't happen, because there's always yin and yang, light and dark. If you think you're only being supported, that's not the truth either. Remember, there's actuality. What is actually happening is that, like at the bowling alley, there's always two rails, left and right, up and down. But you think that right now in your life, or in that terrible time that you went through, illness, divorce, redundancy, whatever, there was only challenge. Go back and look, because you'll find that when there was that terrible, terrible person, or that terrible, terrible time, there was always a lesson, a blessing, and a gift. And as a result, you can then see that actually, in order for you to get from this place where you are at right now to your inspired destiny, where you are more of yourself, requires left-hand challenges, right-hand support, well, the other way around, but actually, like a set of scales, if the challenge goes up, the support goes up, and you will never be left hanging either one side or the other. And that in itself is the reason why your life brings you obstacles, heartbreaks, and hardships, in order to challenge and support you just the right way, to line you up and redirect you with your inspired destiny, which is the place where you are the most fulfilled part of who you have the potential to be, and hopefully also the most authentic version of yourself. Because one of the things that I haven't said so far is that actually heartbreaks break us open to our truth and to who we really are and how we truly feel. Because guess what? When everything is on top of you, you can't really pretend to be anything but sad or depressed, because actually maybe this is exactly what was required to get you to a place where you are resilient and you really dig down into your resilience. And also you become really, really honest about what's okay with you, what's not okay with you, what do you need, what would you like more of, less of. Because in this world we live in today, the biggest epidemic that we are crumbling underneath is inauthenticity. And that is obviously being reflected to us by the media all day long, you know, by all of this, well, first of all, censorship, but also by, you know, all this Photoshopped stuff, and everybody is selling distorted images of beauty and youth and all of that. But that is also reflected as an internal part. Are you really honest about who you are? Are you saying yes when you mean no? Are you agreeing stuff that you would never agree to? And also, have you ever actually taken the time to really get clear on who you are and what you need, and, you know, what's your purpose, and what have you come here to do, and what do you need to get that done? So hardships, heartbreaks, and obstacles are also always here to break the bullshit shell away from you, so that you can really be honest about who you are, and that you can really say, you know what, I am so exhausted, I don't want to do this, or I'm really at the end of my thread and I need help. Sometimes the universe needs to push you right down to the bottom. J.K. Rowling famously said that rock bottom is the place where you can really start building your authentic life from. And if you look at all of these stories, all of the big stories of people who achieved great, impressive things in their life, there will always be a rock bottom story in there. So, to recap, tonight I gave you an overview, and please don't get overwhelmed by this. This is meant to be done in a workshop guided by a facilitator or one-to-one with a coach. You are not meant to be diving into this by yourself, because this is a big topic and this is a big deal. And if you've just gone through some really horrific stuff, it's a lot to take on, that maybe there was a meaning behind all of this. So please do not attempt to do this on your own. Come to the workshop, listen to the webinar, or actually book a couple of sessions with me and go, okay, so how did this divorce actually align me with my inspired destiny? How is this illness requiring me to get better at self-care and authenticity? How is this redundancy actually making sure that I choose the right job for myself? Please, please, please don't do this on your own, because guess what? If you don't see it, you don't see the lesson and the blessing right away. I've seen so many people going and just beating themselves up. Well, okay, so now I found out that there's a lesson and a purpose to my hardships, and I can't see the lesson, so I'm going to just beat myself up more. Please do not do that. Reach out, ask for help. There's plenty of people, plenty of groups that will help you do this, because some or other of these topics will be woven into every single type of personal modality there is. That is me. That is the whole topic. So let's have a look. How are you guys doing? All right. Let's quickly have a look if anybody has joined. Yep. Stephanie, hi, how you doing? Stephanie just said, I love how you explain things. Well, you know, I seem to have a little gift for putting really complex things on one page. If you like, that's really because I was so bewildered in my life about why do people do the things they do, and how does life work, and oh my God, why is this happening to me? I have studied personal development for 2 solid decades now, and a lot of the concepts, you know, a lot of the real hard-hitting concepts that are there to change your life, actually, they're explained by very complex people in very complex ways. So my little gift that I bring to the table is that I have the ability to make incredibly difficult, complex, especially emotional, psychological, and spiritual concepts actually seem pretty straightforward. And so this is what I bring to the table, is I have a brain that is quite structured, but actually also quite empathetic. And I'm absolutely passionate about bringing this really groundbreaking information that's like at the forefront of how do we actually become resilient, but bringing it down to you in chunks that you can understand and apply and actually get the transformation straight away. So look out for the show notes in the comments below. And that is me for today. So all we have to do is get into a place of stillness and breath. So I just invite you to breathe in and exhale. Once more, breathe in and exhale. And I just want you to go into a place of gratitude. Think of 3 things that happened in the past week that you were really grateful for. My first point of gratitude is that you're here with me now, so thank you very much. And then look forward into the next week. Put your attention forward into the week before Christmas. What is your intention for the week before Christmas? I divide inspired intention and destiny into who do you want to be, what do you want to do, what do you want to get from the universe in return. But also just think of 3 intentions that you want to send out into the next week. Maybe you want to get something done. Maybe you want to be calmer. Maybe you want to have a certain kind of experience, attract a certain experience into your life. So just send energy and love into the next week ahead of you. And visualize what that week is going to look like, what you're going to do, how you're going to behave, how you're going to feel in the next week. And then to close off, I want you to commit to 1 self-care act for the next week. So just one. So if that is, you're going to drink a liter of water, you're going to commit to going to the gym every day or for a walk every day. Remember, when it comes to setting goals and habits, the smaller the better. So please don't say I'm going to go to the gym every day or I'm going to walk an hour and a half every day. It's all about setting up habits and making sure that less is more. What you actually have to choose is the point at which you think it's ridiculous. So for instance, when I started to build my breathing habit every day, I said, okay, I'm going to stop for 1 minute of inspired breath. And my brain went, yeah, hello, 1 minute, that's ridiculous. That's exactly what you're trying to do, you're trying to build a habit. So it needs to be the smallest increment there is, and so small that your brain goes, yeah, that's ridiculous. That's the habit you want to pull through to your 60 days, because that is the way you instill a habit. It's got to be ridiculous increments so that by the time the habit is set, you can then ramp it up. If that is breathing or yoga or exercise or water or, getting your head around your finances or learning more about how to see the message and the lesson in your obstacles, less is more. So that's it from me. I'm just going to check if there's any questions, if you've said anything else to me. That's it for today. Thank you so much for your presence and your questions and your love for the Sunday night self-care sessions. Next Sunday is Christmas, so I am going to do the Sunday night self-care session on Saturday night on Christmas Eve. The topic of next week's Saturday is how to survive Christmas with your family without killing anyone, because a lot of you have written to me and told me that you're actually either quite terrified or quite dreading spending time with your family. And there is a little trick behind how to make even the longest Christmas holiday with your family quite joyous, quite connected, and quite bearable. Also, the Sunday after that is the 1st of January, and I'm going to do a session on that 1st of January, which will be all about how to actually make the best out of 2017. You'll start to find that there's a lot of posts on Facebook right now about vision board exercises. And it is a bit of a bugbear of mine, because what most people are not telling you is that most vision board workshops are just about the feminine energy or the yin. So people get together, they cut out pretty pictures and they stick them on a board. Yeah, that's just the inspiration. That is just the yin. You need to add the yang to it, the masculine, the focus, the part of you that talks about aligning it with your priorities and your values, how to put chunks into it, how to get it into actionable steps, how to put measurements into those steps, and how to hold yourself accountable. So when you see those lovely people doing lovely vision board workshops, oh, I love you all, but it's only half of the story. It's only the yin side of the story. You've got to back it up with action, with measurement, with application, with accountability. And that is a workshop I'm doing in the second Saturday of January. I think it's the 13th, but it's the second Saturday of January, because the first Saturday of January, generally you just need to be recovering or traveling home. So the second Saturday of January is my vision workshop that works, because most vision board workshops don't work because they're only telling you half the story. But you'll see more posts about that from my side. The reason I'm doing that workshop is because I really want you to get your goals in 2017. And the truth is that just cutting out pictures and sticking them on a pretty board is not going to make them happen. So I hope to see you there. Also, if you have any questions, ask them in the comments below. I'm going to hang around for another 20 minutes answering your questions. If you have any individual questions, please private message me. I love it when you give me questions and I can give you answers. And don't ever think there's a silly question, because if you're thinking it, somebody else is thinking it too. Thank you so much for spending time with me this evening. I hope you got something out of this very big topic. and let me know if you need any help or if you're going through something really tough right now and you want to get clear on where the support is and what the lesson and learning is that your life is so beautifully and so caringly trying to deliver to us. Take care. Till next time. See you then. Bye.